What's up, guys? Welcome back to Storytime with Uncle Jon, where we pluck stories from Reddit and around the web and just whatever piques our interest. Most of the time we're doing Tales from Tech Support and Malicious Compliance, and today we're doing Tales from Tech Support. Sorry I didn't get anything posted yesterday for this morning. Got a little crispy yesterday. We went out to the beach, and no amount of color correction is going to take away this sunburn on screen or in person, unfortunately.
Come on, don't touch my sunburn.
The worst part is, this is okay. It's not great, but not bad. Didn't get any other sunburn except for the top of my feet. And people wonder why I'm an umbrella hog when we go to the beach. Oh well, let's do some tech support. User doesn't realize their monitor needs power to work. User calls me for help with her second monitor that she hasn't used in a while. She says she checked all the cables and it still doesn't work. I come over, first thing, check all the cables. Power cable's not there. The only thing connected is HDMI. I tell her that the power cable isn't connected. Well, you see you're missing a cable back here. Her coworker responds, "See, I told you there should be another cable there." Coworker number 2 then says, "Oh well, I thought the one cable, HDMI, that goes into the little black box, computer, was enough." At this point, I'm just confused how the second lady made it so far in life, but alright, she's probably not a tech person. I looked under the table for the cable, found it, plugged it in, everything works. "Where did you get that cable? We were looking there and it wasn't there." "No, it was right here hanging over the other cables." Then I leave. I feel like I just went through some test of patience. Well, let's put it this way, OP. Everything, every day throughout life is going to be a test of your patience in one way, shape, or form. It's just something you got to get used to. Honestly, at least some people knew that there needed to be a power cable, and they did take a look. They tried to take a look anyway. I wouldn't beat on them too hard just because they couldn't see it. Sometimes if there's a jumble of cables, I've got a jumble of cables across my desk here. My wire management sucks, by the way, but sometimes I get confused if my phone charger's here, if it's not here, if the plug for my external hard drive is here. I don't know. Doesn't help when you got little kids and cats running around, so maybe I should work on that. Maybe. User reports that web browser closes when they close the web browser. Okay. The user just called me and told me that this website they use for their work keeps closing every couple seconds, and it happens every time they open a PDF file. I remotely connect it to their computer and see what's going on. This is what happened. User opens the web browser and goes to the website. Then they open a PDF file in the same browser window. Nothing strange happens. User clicks the X at the top right to close the browser. Then the user says, "See, the website keeps closing." I say, "Well, that's because you closed it." User says, "No, it happens every time I open a PDF." Then I reopen the website that opens a PDF file to show the user that the website she had opened doesn't close when she opens a PDF. Then I explain to the user that the browser was closing because she was closing it by clicking the close button. I'm not sure how they don't understand that they're actually closing the browser. Maybe they don't understand that the PDF is opening in the browser. I tend to not like PDFs when they open in the browser unless I'm just looking at it, like, doing a read-only thing. Most of the time I will allow the PDF to download so that I can open it locally on the computer. That way, if I need it again, it's there and whatever. I'm not sure why they didn't understand closing the X and all that, but whatever. People, they are a strange bunch. DNS strikes back. While I'm not tech support, but a system engineer, I think it still fits. This story happened around 3 weeks ago. I saw an alert for one of our customer domains in the uptime monitoring. At the same moment, I got a message in the support chat about the domain not working and colleagues not being able to connect via SSH. Mind you, this domain is used by customers to consume the content that they create with our software, so it not working is kind of a big deal. Since that web space is managed for us by a web hoster, I only had limited access to it, but I tried to debug nonetheless. First, trying to log in via SSH. Server ignored my pub key and asked me for a password. Weird. Server has different host key than our administration domain. Very weird. Possibly an issue on the hosting side. Then, pinging the domain. IP of server looks unfamiliar. That's when that small voice in the back of my head, the one you hear when you're about to stumble into a situation that's way worse than it seems, started whispering. Then, I checked the domain DNS. nslookup.io returns the same weird IP. Oh god. Same for the entire zone. Oh, F. Then I check who is of the IP and domain. Who is for the domain and IP returning hosting provider in Florida, USA. Not even our effing continent. At this point, I called my team lead out of his meeting to resolve this grade A shitfest. After digging through multiple stages of DNS providers and hosters, we reached the actual registrar where the domain got bought more than a decade ago. Their crew, however, was unwilling or unqualified or unable or whatever to help us or even understand that we lost control over the entire DNS zone. After my TL spent some time explaining to them what the issue was at all, they finally told us that they had no idea why we lost control of the domain. Later, my TL sent an ultimatum and requested a statement about the incident. The whole thing got fixed 2 days later. Now we received a statement by the registrar stating that the original registrar, who owns the TLD, apparently shipped a back-end update, resulting in a bunch of these kinds of errors. Down below, Striker1 says, that progression from huh to that's odd to uh-oh to holy effing shit stirs some interesting emotions. It's funny, there's a bunch of times when I'll be listening to YouTube videos and things like that in the background while I'm editing or doing anything for that matter, with, people getting pulled over for DUIs, Karens, usually they're combined, drunk Karens being pulled over for DUIs and, going from a simple DUI ticket or arrest to full-on felony arrest. And when they start ramping up, man, my heartbeat starts, my heart feels like it's going to bounce out of my chest and my head starts to spin and I get anxiety, man. I got to be careful. Maybe I should, put some old jazz music on or something while I'm editing. Girl, we've been over this. So I'm not in tech support, but was helping somebody with technical issues. For some context, this was on a school computer, and we were in a technical class that uses computers every day. We were editing clips of a movie, and this girl needed help. I went to help her as I finished my work early. I asked her to pull up the files, and she pulled up her C drive, which was empty. I asked her if she saved the files to her F drive, and she said no. I'm facepalming right now as my teacher has ingrained into us that any files saved to the C drive are wiped automatically at the end of the day. I told her to re-download the files and put them on her H drive, and that she should talk to the teacher about how to work the software as she knew practically nothing. Mind you, we were taught all of this. She was eventually able to edit the film, so everything was okay. I've never been in a school setting, whether it's, community college, regular college, university, elementary school, whatever, where you could permanently save things to the C drive. If you can't, it's a useless feature, quite honestly, to be able to save things locally if you're not supposed to. Everybody has their own personal drive and things like that, or a shared drive of some sort. And, like one of the commenters down below said, why don't these entities, the schools, just disable that whole feature so that you can't save it at all to the C drive? Make it so they have to choose something else, but I don't know. I didn't know there was a setting to do that, but either way, it's not that hard to remember that you can't save to the C drive. If your drive is an H drive, you save to H. When you're at that school or on their software or whatever, on their network, that's how you do it. But we already know people don't listen, so. Displays and dissonance. Cast your minds back to the early 90s. Windows 3.1 had been released, but my employer, Royal Air Force, was slow on the uptake. Amiga, Mega Drive, and SNES ruled the gaming markets. DOS was the PC weapon of choice. TVs were heavy, and the faults control tech support section of the RAF Air Defense site was heavy on people but light on chairs. The MK10 radar display, you're seeing the clues to the username. What's the username? Oh, Radar Man 2. Okay. Was heavy, cumbersome CRT thing, but worked with the same principles of a TV. The signals sent to it are beamed onto the screen. This includes the blips you see in movies, as well as the text attached to the blip and circles telling you how far something out is. These circles are called range rings, and the important fact for later is that the display creates them. Also, radar screens don't go beep at every target. Sick of telling my brother that. Now that that's flushed out, remember the world of the simple joke, being sent for tartan paint, a glass hammer, a long stand, sky hooks, range rings, blah blah blah. Our hero of this story, not me this time, told me of the time when a particular airman was new to the particular station in Norfolk. It had been a few years before, back when they had this monstrous radar that shook buildings and made the floor tremble when the head, the spinning bit, was turned on. Said airman had just joined the RAF, done his basic and trade training, and was at real work on his first day. Somehow he didn't realize that the doors and stairs of multiple turns he'd been shown down meant that he was now in an underground bunker. So when the walls rumbled and the alarm stopped, he asked what was that. You saw the big radar when you came in, as well as the building directly below it that we're in. Yes, he replies meekly. Well, it's the monthly test of the defenses. It's a bit like Thunderbirds. The sides open and we get lowered so that only the radar head is above ground. Blimey, thinks our hero as the other leaves, chuckling to himself. Minutes go by and then the chief enters, introduces himself to the new bloke and decides it's time to probably introduce him to work. You see all these displays? They're faulty. Keep giving the wrong distances. I need you to go to the store and find about 5 boxes of range rings, says the chief. Our hero contemplates and then reality dawns on him. Ah, you won't get me that easily, chief. Stores is on the other side of camp and there's no way I can get there when we're 60 feet underground. And be to any Scopey reading this, you do know that air traffic controllers can do your job, right? I have no idea what a Scopey is. I do know what an air traffic controller is. I guess it's the guy that stares at the screen and sees what range targets are or potential targets. I don't know. If you know anything about this, let us know down below. Anyway, it's funny because on job sites, growing up around construction sites and things, people would often, haze the new guys. Nothing too rough, nothing dangerous, just, stupid time wasters and something to make them look kind of silly. And then, haha, everybody get a laugh and then everybody goes to work. Skyhooks was a big one. Toenails. If you don't know what toenailing is, so when you put a board lengthwise against another board that's horizontal, like in a T fashion, sometimes you will drive your screw or nail at an angle through the top board into the next board. That's called toenailing. And there is no special box of nails or fasteners for that. It's the same one if you were going through a 2x4 wall plate into the 2x4 wall stud. Things like that. It's the same hardware, There's no such thing as toenails. So, yeah, there was always some kind of wild snipe goose chase that you could send them on. So it was funny as long as you didn't overdo it. Usually anything more than a day or two of that, and that would usually guarantee they'd be chased off, and you'd end up doing his work too. So we tried not to do that. And if they were halfway decent at doing any kind of physical labor and willing to learn, you don't want to chase those people off. A restart will fix it, but not how you'd expect. The president of my company's been working out of our second office in another state all winter and was due to arrive back in town Monday. Friday afternoon, I took it upon myself to do a once-over in his office, restarting his printer and docking station to make sure everything worked smoothly since he'd been gone for a few months. I hate when he comes back in the building and something isn't working as expected because it's been sitting stale for so long. Everything seemed in line and I didn't anticipate any issues on Monday morning. I get into my office at 7:51 a.m. and at 7:52 he walks in saying, "Hey, I need your help with something." "Sure, what's up?" "Can you help me get these basketball tickets on my phone?" Not what I was expecting, but at least nothing's broken. Normally if someone asked me for help with something like this, I'd tell them to get lost, but this guy's name is literally on the front of the building, so I agree to take a look. A colleague has sent him playoff tickets via a link in a text message. He clicks the Ticketmaster link and it gives him an error. Session suspended, try another location or another device. I take the phone, copy the link out of Safari, and try it in Chrome. Same message. I ask him if we can go try the link on his computer and he agrees. I send the link to himself in an email so it'll be in his inbox. We walk into his office and I have him pull up Outlook. He's about to open the message and says, "Oh, he also already emailed it to me," and shows me the email from the colleague with the ticket transfer message. So I'm thinking, oh, this explains it. The guy retransferred the tickets via email, so the first link in the text is probably no good. We open that link on his computer and he's able to log into his Ticketmaster account and accept the tickets. They're in his account now. He should be good to go. But there's a message on the page saying, "Your phone is your ticket. Log in from your mobile device and add the tickets to your wallet." We go back to his phone and I just try pulling up the main Ticketmaster.com website and to my dread, see the same "your session is suspended, try another location or device" message. Well, now I can't use another device. It has to be this device so I can get the tickets into his Apple Wallet. I clear the browser cache and cookies, same thing. I try incognito mode, same thing. I switch from Wi-Fi to mobile data, same thing. I start looking up the error and it seems like the Ticketmaster has some checks in place, and if it sees suspicious browsing behavior, it assumes you might be a bot trying to snipe tickets and blocks you. The Ticketmaster support page says it's temporary and to try again later. I tell the president I think it temporarily blocked him after he opened the first link so many times. We should let it cool off and try again later. No problem, the game isn't until tomorrow. I didn't see him the rest of the day and he took off early in the afternoon, so we didn't have a chance to circle back. He doesn't get into the office until about 11 a.m. the next morning and hands me his phone. It's been over 24 hours at this point. The temporary block must be gone. I open up the Ticketmaster website and see the same freaking error. Uh-oh. I tell him there's still a problem and I need to figure out what to do next. He blurts out the passcode to his phone and heads out to lunch. I take the device back to my office and start doing some research. Everyone online that has had this problem gets the error because they're trying to do some shady crap to buy or reserve tickets and nobody has an answer for how to release whatever block Ticketmaster puts on you. Ticketmaster support articles say you just have to wait. I can't wait, the game is tonight. If he doesn't get these tickets, he's going to be out thousands of dollars and it's going to be my fault because my fingers are all over at this point. Is any of this even my job? I figure the next step is going to be grab a spare phone out of my supply, have him log into his Apple ID, even if he remembers the password, and accept the tickets from there. I'm not entirely sure how the Apple Wallet works. If he gets the tickets on the phone, will they show up in his other one? I figure worst case scenario, he has to carry the second phone with him to get to the game. I'm waiting for him to get back from lunch to explain this asinine workaround when I think to myself, screw it, let's just restart this phone. I restart the phone and I'm lucky I'm staring at it while it starts up because once it does, I see a message in the corner. For one brief second it says VPN and disappears. I go into the settings and find out that while this guy was out of town, he subscribed to a VPN service and installed it on his phone. Once I disabled it, the Ticketmaster website worked perfectly normally. Saved again by a restart. He came back in from lunch and I said, I didn't realize you had a VPN on your phone. He says, oh yeah, I got that a couple months ago. Why? I told him that the Ticketmaster website apparently doesn't play well with his VPN service and that once I disabled it, I was able to get to the website and that he should turn it back on once we get the tickets into his wallet. He logs into the site, sees the tickets, and adds them to his Apple Wallet. Then I show him how to turn the VPN back on. Mission accomplished. Then he turns back to me and says, so now how do I transfer them to someone else? Oh my god. Down below, Joe Attaboy says, for all that hassle, he should have just given the tickets to you. Yeah, no kidding. I really hope that the someone else was going to be OP because after all that BS, now granted, it's not your job, but you are getting paid and, you know, doing some fiddly little thing for the boss once in a while. It doesn't hurt anything really, and it keeps you in their good graces. So as long as you're getting paid for your time being there, no big deal. But still, it would be nice if, you know, boss let you in on a game here and there. I don't personally like going to live games for the most part, except for like, you know, double, triple, and single A ball. But, you know, other than that, I could care less. I don't have a whole lot of experience with VPNs. I really should, by all rights, be using a VPN on my stuff, and we'll probably start that soon. I'm just not sure how to make it all come together and work between cell phones, tablets, PC, laptops, things like that. You know, for most of the users in this house, it's a 1 or 2 device thing, no big deal. Between my 2 businesses and everything, and they all work together. So I got to figure this out. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overcomplicating it in my head, which is probably the case. Most of the time that's the case anyway. And, we'll play around with it before fall and see how things go. Never had I seen someone so happy. I used to work for a satellite television service company as an in-home technician. One day I went to an elderly gentleman's home to fix his television service. We talked for a while and he even showed me his Game Boy Pocket in excellent condition with Tetris and Link's Awakening. He said he played it often to help keep his fingers nimble and his mind sharp. As a gamer myself, I thought this was really cool and impressed he kept it in such great condition all those years. After I fixed his issue, I noticed a box with some unusual earbuds. They looked like hearing aids, and I asked him about it. He said he has difficulty with his hearing and those were designed to help with hearing the TV, but he had them for 2 years and never was able to get them working. I asked if I could try and he said sure. After some tinkering, I asked him to put them on. His face lit up and said he could hear his TV. The look of pure elation on his face moved even my old craggy heart. He was so thankful he tried to give me his Game Boy and games as a reward. I expressed my appreciation and politely declined, as I could never take such treasures away from him. It also saddened me that this guy lived alone, and for 2 years, nobody helped this man with something I thought to be fairly simple, but I'm glad he can now hear his TV clearly. And down below from equivalent salary, if you feel like you've made a connection, you might consider checking back with him from time to time. At some point he'll need help getting those unusual earbuds reconnected, perhaps to a new TV. He won't be as alone and you'll have another friend. I've done a lot of service-related jobs where we go to homes and offices for people, and you know, there is something to be said for being just a little nicer and a little more helpful than you were actually called out for. I'm not saying everyone deserves it or it's, you know... Oh, there's Nickel. Stop picking the chair! Stop! He's already ruined the cover for this chair, so I need to order a new one. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop. Hey! It's a little booger. Anyway, you know, sometimes you see some sad, lonely old person, or maybe they're not so sad, you know, it just seems weird and awkward that they're all by themselves, and, you know, it's nice if you can do a little something nice for people in general, so good for you, OP. Not only does it make a difference in their life, it really kind of makes a difference in yours too, to help somebody out and do something sort of outside of your own little box, you know? Which account? I work IT at schools. We admin 2 accounts for students, Windows and Google. This is a conversation I have multiple times a day. Student account not working. Normally telling me a random story about how they found their account not to be working that has no relevance to the issue. I ask which one. Student says the login one. I say, which login one? Student says, for the computer. I say, okay, so your computer login. Student says, no, the Google one. Too long didn't read. You make me want to act violently. You know, I'm not a super violent guy, but I do have potential. And there's been times when people have enraged me to the point where all I want to do is take whatever device they're working on and just, you know, one of those. So anyway, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the stories today. And if you did, do me a favor, click all those little buttons down below to see what they do. Share with friends and family, or don't, whatever. And I really appreciate you being here. Until the next video, we'll see you.